Hi everyone, it's been a little bit of a while. This is Jeremy, the director of Jack Jackson. We haven't uploaded an episode because we're currently on a hiatus, but we have a special surprise. We're going to be uploading a few practices that we did. These aren't official episodes, at least official in the timeline of the current story arc that we're in. These are things that happened earlier on, back when we were first starting to record the podcast before we decided to do it live. Go ahead and give this a listen, and just remember this is not current time stream. This is a look into the past. So without further ado...
Hi, I'm Sarah Henshaw of the Jack Jackson podcast. In each episode of Jack Jackson, you'll follow the adventures of 1950s private investigator Jack Jackson, along with your favorite recurring characters, his assistant Kitty, Peter the landlord, the villainous Rube Goldberg, as well as new characters brought to life by our voice actors. Each episode delivers a new film noir mystery, accompanied by sound effects, historic events, and pop culture references. Some right, some not so right. And to recreate the style of an old-time radio program, we include a show sponsor and record each episode in the dark in front of an audience. It's a unique improv comedy experience with a touch of nostalgia that always delivers plenty of laughs. So sit back and get ready for another episode of Jack Jackson, in which Jack takes on his toughest case yet.
It's time for an all-new Jack Jackson, sponsored as always by Cooper's Clotheslines. Cooper's Clotheslines. If you use other clotheslines, they'll leave you hanging, as in dead. Tonight, Jack takes on his toughest case yet, in the case of the chef who fried. Sponsored by Cooper's Clotheslines. With the Cooper's Clotheslines, your clothes will be hanging around instead of hanging you.
It had been one of the best eating evenings I've ever had. I was sitting there at the table looking across at a beautiful woman, sipping champagne, cutting myself a slice of steak. With a knife.
Oh, Jack, you're so strong.
She was the most beautiful girl in all of Dark City. And tonight she was all mine. I took another drink. Her name was Suzy Q.
You know, Jack, I was so surprised you even asked me out. I didn't think you knew who I was.
She was a supermodel, one of the best in the whole city. She recently got divorced, though, and I made my move. Well, Suzy, I couldn't help but notice you when you were walking down the runway.
Yeah, when you arrested that fashion designer for using only expensive furs that were endangered. It was so heroic.
I just do my job. I go where the money goes.
Would you like a refill, sir?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, can I have another goblet?
Is that allowed? Oh, okay.
It was a medieval-themed restaurant.
Oh, how awkward! Oh, fancy running into you here, Jack. I'm just here on a date.
I looked over at the other table. Ah, Kitty! Nice to see you.
Yeah, I'm here with my new boyfriend, Ralph. Say hi, Ralph.
Hi, Ralph.
He's so funny.
Oh my God.
I looked at the Neanderthal that was standing next to Kitty.
Mr. Lauren, it's an honor.
Suzy, I miss you.
Oh, you two know each other, huh?
Oh, I didn't know that at all.
I used to walk for Ralph in his clothes.
And now, good ladies and good gentlemen, the chef has prepared a special dish that he will now present himself. If you follow the spotlight, you will see the chef.
I am so glad you all could come out tonight to see this. Oh, that guy's I have prepared a special meal for you all, and I hope that you enjoy it whilst watching the Ren Fair medieval theme jousting tournament.
Oh, how exciting!
He was a strange-looking man. The chef, that is. He was sweating. He looked nervous. His hands were shaking.
Tonight, for your pleasure, I have made my favorite specialty.
He kept glancing up at the back of the room, at a dark window, probably one-way glass.
And I will be serving it to you all now. I've only made one, so gather around.
Oh, I guess I'll have to sit next to you, Jack. That's the only chair that's available.
Well, the chef started walking around, passing out tiny bites of his one plate.
Here you go, Monsieur Jackson.
I didn't know we knew each other. He leaned in real close to whisper.
I am in danger.
Oh my god, that man's been electrocuted!
Oh, how wonderful!
The chef was electrocuted. His hair stood on end. He grabbed me.
Jackson, no one in this restaurant is safe.
I stood up, pushing my chair back. He fell on the ground. He was dead.
Jack?
Everyone relax. No, relax.
I wanted to eat what he was making.
I looked around. I saw a door open on the upper landing. A dark figure made his way across the overhang. Went out through the upstairs.
Papa, wake up. Papa.
Well, Suzy, it looks like I have to cut our dinner short.
I knew this would happen.
You knew that somebody would be murdered tonight?
You can never help solving a mystery. You're just like all the other detectives.
Well,
Yeah, you don't speak about my Jack that way. He's a good man and a good detective, and he helps lots of people and solves lots of crimes, unlike you.
calm down.
Model.
Alright, Fancy, take the boys and surround the restaurant.
Looks like we're trapped.
Oh, Jackson, what happened here?
Nixon, nice to see you.
Good to see you too.
I didn't expect you to be in town.
Well, I just wanted to come run the police for a while.
Come run the police for a while, huh? Just like you, Nixon.
I'm hoping to aspire to greater things someday.
You'll always...
Wow, he's sweaty.
You're in good hands with Officer Nixon. He's the youngest cop on the force. At the age of 16.
Well, what happened here?
This chef seemed to be in some kind of danger. He came out, said he needed help, knew me by name. Kept looking up at that window up there. I was about to go have a look.
Electrocuted, fried.
Yeah.
Oh, I am not a friar.
I don't think that was very funny. This is not the time to make jokes.
You know, I'm sorry. The police force was a little overwhelmed this week. There's been a rash of thefts in Dock City. Maybe you can take this one, Jackson, and the police force would pay you back.
Well, Nixon, if it's a favor for you, I think I can make that work.
Thanks.
Just get these guys out of here. Clean up this body. Tell me if you find anything interesting. Here's my number.
All right, I will. But
I handed him.
I put on my Irish cop voice when I talk to the boys.
I have no problem. I understand. Every cop in Dock City is Irish.
All right, Fancy. Jackson's gonna take this one.
Okay, there, officer.
That Officer Nixon, he's such a good actor. I knew the only place I could start was up in that window. Have a look in that office where the person took off from. I made my way upstairs. The medieval fanfare had ended. I walked over the upper landing and got to the door. I checked the knob. Locked. I pulled out my thieves' tools and started at the lock. Then I opened the door. I walked inside. Sure enough, just as I suspected, two-way glass. That's when I heard it. A muffled voice. Like somebody was tied up here. There was a person tied up in the corner. I hurried over. I took out my switchblade and I cut the gag away.
Oh, hey there! Oh, goodness! Tied up here for God knows something like 6 hours. Dinner service must be over by now.
It was a portly woman, a large belly, straw hair, freckles all over her face. She had the air of a mother.
Well, thank you, young man. My name's Miss Terrence, but you can call me Clarence. Clarence Terrence.
Clarence Terrence, huh? The famous chef?
Yes! I can't believe you know me. What is your name, young man?
I'm Jack Jackson, Private Eye.
Oh, goodness. Then you'll be able to figure out what was that tied me up.
You didn't see who tied you up?
No, he wore a dark mask and a large fedora.
Large fedora. I cut the hand ties and helped her up. Well, Miss Clarence Terrence, I think I know which way he went. He also happened to commit a murder. Somehow he managed to electrocute the chef.
Not Roger!
Yep, I'm sorry. Roger seems to be dead.
My God, this is terrible.
You wouldn't happen to know anything why somebody would want Roger killed? He seemed to think he was in danger. He was serving a very special dish tonight. I believe it was some kind of rare goulash.
Well, normally we don't like to talk about it, but amongst us chefs, there is a dark underground of chefery.
I've heard rumors about the chef's underground. I thought it was a legend.
No, it's absolutely true. Only the best chefs know how to get the most rare and best ingredients, often by underhanded means.
And you don't think somebody might do some dirty deeds to get some goulash for a special reveal tonight that might raise their reputation?
Well, I think it's certainly possible, but Roger would never do that. He was such a nice man.
And yet here you are, the #1 chef in Dark City, tied up while he's revealing his goulash downstairs. You don't think that's a little suspicious?
Well,
Don't mind if I help myself.
Please do. We have a lot of backstock. Well, in hindsight, it does seem like suspicious behavior. You know, he's been taking a lot of time off and going down to the docks and, well, I didn't want to say anything.
The fish docks?
Yeah, the fish docks.
Where somebody might acquire some black market goulash fish?
Yes. I mean, you'd never see a nice girl like me go down there, but...
No, you never rose to power through dark underground black market chefery.
No! I just underpay all my people. It's quite easy.
I gave her a long, hard look.
I wish you wouldn't look at me so hard.
All right, why don't you get out of there, go downstairs, tell Officer Nixon what's going on. I'm going to make my way this way, try to see if I can catch a trail of that
Thank
black
you,
figure.
Jack Jackson, thank you.
Oh my God, it's Clarence Terrence! Oh! Sign my cookbook! Sign my soup!
Of course, I'll be right with you.
I walked out onto the upper landing, looked around. It was nighttime now. Downstairs, a limousine was pulling up. I could see Suzy Q making her way to it.
Goodbye, Jack. Me and Ralph are going out. We're gonna fix our relationship.
The limousine peeled out, got out of there.
I finally caught up with you, Jack. It's horrible. Ralph left me for Suzy. I never saw that one coming.
I turned and looked at Kitty. That's a real shame Suzy took off without me, too. That's when I saw it. Right over Kitty's shoulder. There was a little torn piece of fedora.
Oh, why are you looking in my eyes like that, Jack?
I kept staring at it, trying to get a better look.
Oh, Jack, this is actually happening.
I took a step closer to Kitty.
Oh.
I put my hands on her shoulder. I moved her out of the way. I grabbed the piece of fedora and looked at it. Hanson's Fedoras and Cooking Company.
Oh, that's very interesting.
It was written on the inner label.
Yeah, that's very interesting indeed.
Have a look at this, Kitty.
Yeah, I heard. Hanson's Fedoras and Company.
Cooking Company.
Cooking Company, yeah, I heard everything.
They have a place down on the docks.
Pretty much every place has a place down on the docks in this place.
That's why they call it Dock City. 2 hours later, me and Kitty were making our way to Hanson's. We walked up to the door. The docks were quiet. Most people on their way out. Sailors walking by to and fro.
Hey, it's a long day at the docks, guys.
Nothing but salt.
Come on, let's go back to my place and dance.
Only if there's salt.
I opened the door into Hanson's. They were still open.
Wow, they're open late at 11 o'clock. That's weird.
Sure are. Kinda underground, don't you think? I have a tip-off that there's some black market cookery going on.
It's awfully noisy, too. It sounds like there's a lot of people in here.
Hello, welcome to Hanson's Fedoras and Cookery Company.
We walked in.
How can I help you?
We could hear maybe 40 or 50 people from behind the wall, but this side of the room, not the back room, was completely just one guy in hats.
If you would like any of our hats, please don't hesitate to ask me any questions.
I walked up to the hat tender. Yeah, I'm looking for a fedora. Kind of a make like this. I slammed down the piece of fedora that I found back at the Renaissance restaurant.
Oh yes, that's one of our most popular brands.
Ah, that's a shame. You looked a little nice to me, rare.
Oh, you know, now that I look at that, that might be one of the hat. Oh, goodness.
Jack!
We live at the docks, so it's, there's a lot of people, a lot of shady people.
Is your arm okay?
Oh, it'll
it's
live.
bleeding very profusely.
Don't worry about it, honey. Living here at the docks for so long, you gain a tolerance.
Oh!
There was a gunshot came from the back room. What's going on back there? Sounds like some rowdy types.
Nothing.
Settle down. You all know why we came here.
Yes.
It's a cook-off.
So hats is what you sell, huh?
Yes, hats and cooking utensils and nothing else. There is nothing else in this 2,000-acre property.
2,000-acre dock property.
Coming to the
We
center
grow-
stage.
We grow our own hat
Two
material.
chefs unlike any other. Pasta chef Mario Batali.
I leaned on the counter, looking at the hat owner and deep in the eyes while listening to the caller in the other room.
And
What's
sushi
going on
master
here, sir?
himself, Yagihiro Morimoto.
All right, I want in.
If you would like to sign up for our mailing list,
Jack,
I can do that.
Jack,
He winked at me.
Jack,
I shrugged Kitty off.
but Jack,
No, I want in on the cooking action.
but Jack, you don't know how to cook.
And as always, we need a third contestant. But
It's gonna be one of you! So, who's it gonna be?
Let me tell you something, sir.
He leaned in real close. His air of kindness completely dropped. Suddenly, he seemed a lot rougher.
I see 1,000 newbies like you walking in here every day hoping to make a name for themselves. They get eaten just like the rest of them.
They get eaten, huh?
They get eaten.
Well, I happen to have it on good authority. You might recognize the guy who sent me here. He wears a big fedora, same make as this, and a mask.
The masked fedora, chef.
That's right. Another knife hit him. He didn't even flinch.
Why don't you get inside? It's almost midnight. Lots more knives come around. Around midnight.
Who's gonna be our third contestant?
You can never stand my fettuccine.
He slid a wall open.
I go off.
And it was basically a coliseum. 2,000 acres. The hat shop taking up literally almost none of it.
Oh, a man in a fedora enters. Come on up, sir.
I turned to Kitty. Go on, Kitty, head up to the stands. I got some cooking to do. I took off my coat and my fedora and handed it to her.
Can't stand to watch.
Introduce yourself, sir. What do you make? And what's your name?
He handed me the boom mic. Jack Jackson! The boom mic was giving lots of feedback.
Hey, don't hold it like that, all right? Gentle.
Sorry, something's wrong with the mic. Let me give it a few taps.
Sorry about the technical difficulties. I'm new. Yeah, there it is.
A techie said.
All right, one more time. What's your name? And what do you cook?
Jack Jackson! I looked over at Kitty. She started pantomiming. Bacon, bacon! I make the finest bacon in all of Ducks.
Oh, what are you gonna bake?
I'm gonna bake a bacon. I looked back at Kitty. A plunger, match, cake, bacon cake.
Bacon cake.
I'm gonna bake a bacon cake.
Oh, we've never seen a bacon cake here before. Do you like that idea, crowd? Woo!
Jack Jackson's so handsome.
It's a piece of cake to bake a bacon cake.
Well, why don't you get up here and make that, Jake?
Shut up.
Nope, it's Jack. And Jack's making the bacon cake.
I stepped up on the podium. It was a triangle arena. 3 corners. One with a chef in each one of them. There was an Asian chef, an Italian chef, and me. I looked over. That's when I noticed it. The Italian chef. He was wearing a chef's hat and a mask. I looked over at the Asian chef. He looked at me. That's when I saw it. Around his neck, a shock collar. It looked like it had enough voltage to put him at a commission. And that's when I felt it. A click on my neck.
All right, you're all set to shock. The winner, $100,000. The losers, electrocution!
Murder!
Kitty was panicking in the stands.
All right, crowd. Let's all count to the start. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go!
The other 2 contestants started frantically cooking. I was just standing there, completely taken aback. Never cooked anything in my life. I looked around. There was a bowl. I grabbed it. Yes, this is a good start. I set the bowl down. I felt good about this. Then I saw some flour. Yeah, that would do. Flour is good for cake. I poured the flour in the bowl. I looked up at Kitty. She was crying. I started mixing the flour. Something didn't feel right. I couldn't figure this out.
While our guest chefs do their prep, that now's a good time to thank our sponsor for this underground chef night, Cooper's Clotheslines. Remember, don't get left hanging. Get yourself a Cooper's Clothesline.
I couldn't help but be distracted at the mention of Cooper's Clotheslines. Fabulous clotheslines. Far more than just rope hanging on two posts. I poured in some water. That helped the mixing process a lot more. Then I looked around. They already had their food in the ovens.
Ding. It's an interesting approach from the challenger, Ray. Seems like he poured water and flour into a bowl. What do you take about that?
Well, I think, newbies, they like to try a new approach every time. This seems like a very simple ingredient mixture. We'll see how it turns out.
Oh, it looks like Chef Yukihiro has already put the flambe on his sushi.
I have burned my fish and disgraced my family. I commit seppuku now and hand over to my daughter.
It is surprising at how tolerant we are of the Japanese.
He sliced open his stomach and got electrocuted at the same time. The arena became a line.
Don't worry, folks. The electricity cauterized the wounds. He'll be fine.
He was definitely dead. I think he was just being nice to the audience. I looked over at the masked chef. He was cooking, but he wasn't even looking at what he was making. He was just staring at me. Cold, deep eyes.
We're down to 2. It's Jack Jackson and Mario Batali.
Mario Batali? Why did that name sound so familiar?
Celebrity pasta chef Mario Batali.
That's right. Mario Batali was a famous chef from Italy.
Yeah. Ooh, ee. Oh, I keep burning myself. Oh, I need to look at what I'm doing.
He seemed aloof, but I could tell there was malice in him. I looked around, and then I saw bacon. I grabbed a handful of that and threw it in the cake.
Alright, now this is interesting here. It looks like he just put a bunch of raw bacon into a bowl with flour and water.
Well, like I said earlier, simple ingredients, we'll see how it turns out.
Not entirely sure I was going to make a cake out of this.
30 seconds to chicken. 30 seconds left.
And the oven remains unused.
I looked around. I started to panic.
I burned my stuff. Oh no!
Batali was shooting a flamethrower over the top of his food. His fancy footwork. Moving around. I didn't know what to do. That's when I thought, cake. Of course! I've been a fool. I grabbed a handful of birthday candles and threw them in the cake.
And time! Please plate your dishes for our guest celebrity chef taster, the one and only. Let her hear it. It's Clarence Terrence!
Clarence Terrence walked out. She had her head held high like somebody who had just gotten away with something nasty. I looked down at my dish. This would be easy. I had this one in the bag.
It looks like this challenger is still trying to put some of those birthday candles in the raw bacon. Kind of struggling.
I ladled a few scoops of birthday bacon cake out onto a plate.
Now see, he's using a ladle, which is very unorthodox.
Well, it's like I was saying earlier, the new chefs try a new approach, very simple ingredients. We'll see how it works out.
Very, very bold.
I garnished it with some rosemary and a little bit of chocolate. Then I walked forward, me and Mario Batali looking each other face to face. So, Batali, you got a pretty good dish there. I looked down. It was flambe. Fish flambe.
Yes, I got the fresh fish from the docks.
That's so.
Yes, we're very close, you know.
Now, Miss Terrence, tell the audience what you're looking for in a winning dish.
Well, of course I'm looking for something with lots of good texture and a taste that is a combination of something mild but with a good spice. I have high hopes for our contestants today.
All right, well, please present your dishes.
I call this the Pride of Venice. It is
that's lovely.
the fish and the flambe. Here you go.
Oh, thank you. Let me just...
And contestant number 2.
This is birthday bacon cake. Homemade here in America. I looked at her. I couldn't tell if it was a mixture of fear and anger in her eyes.
Oh, my... Well, it's certainly unconventional in shape and smell and sight.
I'm so glad I don't have to eat that.
It would be a shame if somebody were framed for murder because of their inability to cook, wouldn't it, Miss Clarence Terrence?
Yes, it would be. That would be a terrible thing.
Yeah, it'd be shocking if somebody was found tied up around where somebody got murdered and then somebody else ran away as a clear suspect, wouldn't it?
I don't have any idea what that's about.
That's what you're describing.
It's time for Clarence Terrence to take a bite of each dish.
I'm sorry. Good luck.
Well, this...
She looked down at my dish.
Take a bite! Take a bite!
The audience began chanting.
Miss Terrence, your soup spoon and steak knife.
Well, let's just see.
She seemed to like it. She fell on the ground with joy.
Oh, God, I think I saw my dead father. Oh, God. It's...
I couldn't help but swell with pride.
I don't know what part of this is supposed to be a cake, but the raw bacon is sure to get someone killed. I don't think... I'm starting to think you don't know anything about cooking. Maybe you aren't a real chef.
Whoa!
Seems as though everyone in the arena is gasping one at a time. We're gonna go ahead and skip ahead to assuming everyone else is done.
I looked over at Mario Batelli. She stepped over to his dish. She looked down at it, and then suddenly it was obvious. She saw the dish. Fish flambe. Guilt started to fill her face. She looked like she was about to crack.
It was a very interesting choice of yours. It certainly looks lovely. The boiling on the skin is delectable looking. And other chef terms. Let me take a bite. Oh, it's just perfect. Oh my goodness. We have a clear winner.
And now, drum roll from the audience as Miss Clarence Terrence announces who will win
I kind of feel like I just did that.
who will die. The person who will die right now.
I feel like I just... All right, okay, well, the build-up was nice. Thank you. Well, the obvious winner is our chef from Italy with the flambéed fish.
Oh, I'm actually Irish. Whoa. That's when I looked. I looked around. I looked over at Mario. He seemed to fill with pride.
Shocking.
Oh, good joke about how Mr. Jackson's going to die.
Suddenly there was a shock. I couldn't see. My vision started to go blurry.
Grab a hold
I hit the floor.
Oh, this one's strong. He's resisting it.
Let go of him!
I heard Kitty's voice. Everything started to go black. I couldn't hear. Everything was muffled. And then, darkness.
Holy God.
I woke up. I wasn't sure what was happening. I was holding a gun.
It was just flambe. Oh.
Mario's body on the ground. Blood everywhere. I looked over. She was holding a rifle. It was her. Clarence Terrence.
You just couldn't keep it to yourself, could you? You just had to make it the flambe.
I was in a room.
You said you like fish.
They didn't seem to know I was here. I must...
supposed to take the fall. Then you throw it back in my face. You flambe it back in my face.
How do I get worse than raw bacon?
Take another... Die already. That's like 6 shots by now.
Mario fell on the ground. That's when I knew the truth. They must have worked together to steal that fish flambe recipe. Clarence Terrence has been stealing recipes all along. She was the dirtiest, lowest, blackest black market chef that must have been in Dark City.
Well, now that you know the truth.
She threw open a door. I was tied up, but I was still holding my gun. I fired by accident.
You missed.
She got real close. It hit a box, which fell. It started rolling down a ramp.
Ow!
It knocked her over. That was my chance. I pulled with all my considerable strength against the shackles. They tore. I unlocked the ones around my feet. Then I hurried out. I grabbed Kitty. Tore her gag off, shot it off with my gun.
Be more careful, Jack. You almost got my mouth blown off.
Don't worry about it, Kitty. You know I'm a sharp shot.
Sometimes.
I turned.
Hold on, Mr. Jackson. If you leave now, we'll have to find you and kill you again. Oh, I didn't realize the audience had followed me.
I took cover. The audience was firing and the announcer was up front. They all started helping Clarence Terrence up.
Get him, boys!
Me and Kitty ran, threw open this warehouse doors and ran out the back.
Freeze! It's the police!
Kitty slid over the hood of our car. She did a turn and jumped into the driver's seat. I jumped into the sidecar.
I'm sorry I brought all my shoes and they took up all the space, Jack.
Don't aim at the actual car. We don't need her.
We'll take it from here.
Just aim at the sidecar.
The audience stepped out. They all realized they were
All right,
surrounded
boys, let them have it.
by police.
Hey, no, stop! No!
Well, it looks like, Jackson, you did a good job figuring out.
It was a few hours later when I was sitting in the police office. I shoved Clarence Terrence into the chair. Well, Terrence, looks like your tyrannous reign as black market queen of cooking has come to an end.
Well, I would have gotten away with it too if it wasn't for you and your meddling sidekick.
Secretary.
Secretary.
I turned to look at Kitty. So, secretary.
Partner seems a little generous.
Yeah, secretary. It's more like secretary.
That's kind of the vibe everyone was getting.
You've been watching an all-new Jack Jackson and the Case of the Chef Who Fried. Sponsored as always by Cooper's Clotheslines. If you don't use a Cooper's, your husband will cheat on you, divorce you, and leave you for his secretary.
Yay!
I hope that made sense.
Hey everyone, thanks for listening to this special episode. Just a quick reminder, this episode was kind of a pre-current timeline thing. This is a little bit of a jump back if you didn't hear at the beginning of the episode. We have a couple of exciting announcements coming up that I just wanted to run by real quick. Jack Jackson is going to be joining a podcast network, and here in Sacramento, we're setting up a podcast network with the guys from Wasting All the Time, Drowning Man Podcast Network. You can get ready for Season 3 to sort of have like a sponsor, and you're going to be seeing a couple of changes here and there, hopefully an increase in audio quality. We're going to be recording a couple of episodes that aren't live in front of an audience, maybe with a little bit better sound quality. So that's coming up. You're also going to get a couple more of the special behind-the-scenes episodes that are background stuff, like older recordings that we did that we never released. So those are going to be coming out throughout the hiatus before we go back to season 3, and we continue to see what happened there at the end when Jack Jackson and Rube Goldberg both blew up in a helicopter. So thanks again for listening, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Hi, I'm Jeremy Brint, and I just want to thank you for listening to Jack Jackson Noir. This episode is brought to you by CSC Sacramento Theater. We record live there every first Saturday. You can find ticket info at cscsacramento.com. Also, if you enjoyed this episode, leave us a review on iTunes. It helps us spread the show around, and also we'll release a bonus episode for every 50 reviews we get. Those episodes will be based on suggestions that you leave in your reviews, so it's a way for you folks to get involved. Lastly, if you want to send a message to Jack to read in a future segment, you can send those over to jackjacksonnoir@gmail.com. Thank you so much for listening. We will see you next Wednesday.